This is a small piece of Maple Burl, thin section that was cut like this and then turned round. It's already done. It's sanded to 220. I've got a little bit of tear out, but I'm going to sand it some more, so I'm not really worried about all that tear out right now. This is pre-mixed Transtint dye from Rockler. I don't remember the color or the name of the color. Blue. It's really blue. It needs to dry before you can add anything else. You can, I'm just using my Iwata. Blow some air on it. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to sand it, and the wet sanding is not really going to hurt it at all. It'll help with the curl, really. You can hit it again with some more blue. Maybe it'll make it a little bit darker. I just added some water to the mixture so it's a little bit lighter than what I was hoping. But it's okay. It'll come out as a more of a teal probably. I would suggest that you always wear a dust mask anytime you sand, but especially with these aniline dyes because they're micropigments, and I'm sure that's not very healthy to inhale. You see, when I sand this and cut that back, you can see there are spots that are already getting back to the original maple color. And then there are some spots that soaks in a little bit faster, and that'll keep the color and give it contrast for when I add the second and third colors. If you wanted it all to be a uniform color, you got to watch the edge because it gets sanded the most because it's traveling the fastest. But I'm going to do like a sunburst, so I'm not too worried about it. It's going to have a black fade from the outside in. And see, that's giving it quite a bit of contrast. I've still got quite a bit of that blue, so now I'm going to come in with a different color. And in this case, it's going to be green. Also Transtint from Rockler. And see how the colors that were left behind are now contrasting. It looks pretty good. I'm going to dry it again and see what it looks like. This is pretty much what it'll look like whenever you put polyurethane on it. But when you dry it, it lightens up a lot. You just want it to be at least mostly dry before you add any other color or layer, because instead of sitting on top of it, it'll start to mix and it'll throw it off. And I'll show you here in just a second why I have my airbrush out. It's not just for drying this. A little bit more green, and that's good. Okay, that's good enough for me. It's not gonna, the grain's not gonna raise anymore or anything. You might want to feel it, make sure it's not too fuzzy, because with wood it'll get fuzzy after you get it wet, and then you have to sand it back. Now this is black. And I'm just going to put just a couple drops. So that's really all you need. And again, you don't want this getting in your lungs, so you're going to want to wear a respirator or a dust collection system sucking the dye out. The water atomizes it really small. I'm having some technical difficulties for a moment here. Excuse me. That's better. Let's see, that's taking pretty well. But if you keep doing it while it's spinning, it takes a little longer, but you'll get a more uniform pattern. There's something wrong with it. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. I like that. Water's clogged. Probably a piece of sawdust in there. And that's how I dye these inlays. And I've got to rinse my airbrush out, get it popped off, and get the next one done.